Good afternoon, everybody. This is Pete with Home Matters, KIRO News Radio in Seattle Red. We got a great show for you guys today. We got our good friends and our sponsors back from the Madrona Group. They've got, is it 7?
7 offices.
7 offices.
Yeah.
So we got the guy that just said something. That's he's been on the show before. His name is Jason Fox. Good to see you again, Jason.
Good to see you, Pete. Always glad to be here.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And then we got his partner and co-founder who hasn't been on the show. We're going to talk and get to meet him. His name is Joe Kiser. Good to meet you, Joe.
Good to meet you. Thanks
Yeah.
for having me on, Pete.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So we're going to get into all kinds of fun stuff today. Whether it's fun or painful, it's kind of the real estate market as it is right now. So it is what it is. So, but before we get started, because you guys haven't met Joe yet, we're going to talk a little bit about Joe's background. So, Joe, I know, let's go back before you started Madrona and met Jason. I don't know, have you guys been longtime friends or?
Over 20 years.
Oh,
yes.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So a long time. So what were you doing before the Madrona Group?
Well, before the Madrona Group, I was in real estate, just kind of as an independent agent. Okay. Prior to that, I sold. I did sales of different home materials, of windows, roofing, and before that, I cut my teeth in sales as a car salesman, trying to come up with tuition to put myself through college.
Wow.
So I've always been in sales.
Okay. I saw you. Did you get an IT degree? Is that?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, what? I just have my associate's degree.
Associate's degree. Okay. So then you were selling cars. Then you went to consulting and selling home. Is that?
Yep, home goods. Yeah, I did outside sales for.
So why did you decide to get into real estate?
You know, I think like most people, I just fell into it. I actually didn't plan on it. I happened to be in Hawaii, ironically enough, and met a guy that was a sales director for one of the big resorts, and he offered me.
Did you live over there?
No, I was there just for a wedding, and I didn't even go looking for a job. I just happened to bump into him, and my friend worked for the company. I popped in, and they said, "Hey, we want to hire you." And I said, "Well, I'm not looking for a job." And they said, "Well, the guy you were talking to yesterday, he made an impression, and he told us to give you a job offer." And I couldn't say no. The one requirement was I got a real estate license. So I got my license in real estate in Hawaii, chose not to move, and, I was just kind of
kicking. So you stayed in Hawaii?
No. Oh. Sorry. I was there for a wedding.
Oh.
I came back, and there was some family circumstances. My dad was sick, so I decided not to move, and I just stayed here. Went back to selling residential products, and started feeling uninspired. And I was like, I kind of want to get into real estate. I have my license. I wonder what it would be to get it in Washington also. So
Now, when was that? What year around then?
Oh, I don't know, about 14, 15 years ago. So, yeah, about 2010 probably.
All right. So then how'd you meet up with this yahoo? Because you guys knew each other already.
Oh, yeah, we were good friends, and he always had his finger in like real estate marketing, and we always bounced stuff off of each other. And one day he goes, I was reading a book, and they talk about you in that book. And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, you're the connector. He's like, you don't know how to fix a car, but if someone needs a car fixed, they call you. You connect people with everybody. And it kind of, my family always called me the mayor of Edmonds, which is where I grew up. And so it just kind of, we started,
Did you go to Edmonds Woodway?
I did.
Wow,
Yep.
Cool. I coached baseball over there.
Oh, awesome.
For a while.
Go Warriors.
Yeah. Good school.
So I was just talking to Jason, and I'm like most real estate agents. When I got into it, he wasn't an agent at the time, but he did coaching and all sorts of stuff. And he's like, you need to go tell people you sell real estate. And I'm like, no, I need a website first. No, I need my business card first.
Yeah.
And so he really kind of just helped get me
dive in.
The push. He threw me right in the deep end.
Comes along with it. Yeah.
Yep. So that's how I ended up there.
So did you know he was getting his real estate license at that time?
I did. Yeah. I've been we've been close friends for 22 years, something like that.
And you were already in real estate at that time.
Yeah. So I was in. I did more. Remember I told you I did mortgages for like 6 months, and I was like, oh, this is boring. And
I don't want to do those mortgage things.
So I went to the marketing side, and I did that for about 15 years.
I know you did lead gen or something.
Yeah, lead gen mainly. Yeah, man, teaching agents how to get leads and convert business.
Yeah. So then you guys got together. Now, I know you didn't have the 7 offices right at the beginning. So where did you start together as partners?
Honestly, he was kind of my coach. He built my website, probably because he's the only guy that would take me on a payment plan getting started. But he'd always say, I kind of want to get into real estate. And I was like, you should. And I had a...
Oh, so you didn't have your real estate license?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. So we talked about it over breakfast one year, and it wasn't quite timing, but I always had this vision of just working in partnership with somebody. I did that in the car business and really loved it. And about a year later, we sat down again on for breakfast. I guess we're breakfast guys, but we just started talking.
A year apart.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, it's a great while.
Yeah, so we said, let's go. Now I think I'd been selling real estate probably 3 or 4 years by that time, and so I was still pretty green. And
so where were you selling real estate?
John L. Scott in Linwood, yeah.
Oh, Linwood,
Yep.
okay. Out of the Linwood area, okay.
Yeah. And so we just decided to form a team because we didn't want to be called Joe and Jason, and that in itself was a day process coming up with a name. So
how did I never asked you that. How did the Madrona Group come up with that?
Yeah, well, so like you said, we sat there all day long and trying to find a name that also has a domain with a .com can be quite challenging, especially in real estate. So we're picking all this stuff and nothing is coming up. It's not happening. Finally, Joe gets a little frustrated. He checks himself out.
Yeah.
And
call it whatever you want. Let's go.
Yep, exactly. That was exactly where I was at.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know. Then it just, I was like, the Madrona Group. That sounds very Pacific Northwest. And I, this part of it, he didn't know at the time, but I grew up on this street called Madrona. And it was a really meaningful place to me. So I just, and it worked. There was a domain, and I just, there we go.
And it could be .com, and everything worked.
And then it just kind of really embodied who we are. The Madrona trees got deep roots. We both really pride ourselves on having deep roots in our communities. And ironically, my dad's business partner of over 20 years also lives on Madrona. So just one of those things that just fit once we got it. So
that's very cool. So did you go to the Linwood office too?
So that's where I started as well. Yeah, just for a very short time. But we wanted to be a team, and the broker there hadn't really embraced that idea quite yet. So we went to the red team for about 6 months.
We won't name names, but the red team.
Yeah, and we were over there, and we didn't like it over there, and not anything in particular. It just wasn't for us, and so we came back to Linwood and started to grow, and as we started doing a lot of business, they presented an offer to us. John L. Scott did. That offer didn't work out. So instead, somebody came to us and was like, "Hey, what do you think about starting a virtual model?" And that's right up my alley. Okay. So I was like, "Yeah, no, that's something I'd be interested in." And so we created the Ballard office.
Okay. And so virtual model in your mind means what? What is?
So we don't have a brick and mortar office for that office.
All right. So it's all remote.
It's all remote.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
But you had to buy it. There must be a license or franchise. Is John L. Scott a franchise or is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We have a franchising fee and operating agreement.
Yeah.
Yeah. All kinds of software and stuff that you have to buy. Yeah.
So Ballard was your first joint office together.
It was. Yep.
And then how did all this to get to 7?
Yeah.
The timing, I think, was in our favor. It was right when COVID started. And so honestly, we just started meeting with intention daily. We had one agent that came over with us, and not too far after that, he brought somebody over that he knew, and she brought her aunt. So we had, 7 or 8 in the first 6 to 8 months, and we would meet daily. We called it the huddle, and we just check in. Here I am, a new designated broker.
Were you guys doing Zoom or something?
Yep.
Just all video chat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Joe, how did you convince agents to come over and work with you guys on your team?
I think one thing is Jason and I both have embraced just sharing anything that we have. I mean, I remember my very first website that he built me, we put everything on how to list a home, because if you think you can do it, you should. But if you read through it, you might realize you need some guidance.
Yeah, there's a lot of steps to it. So I was like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, and so I've always had an open door approach. And so Jason and I always would be in the office and people would pop in. And so just try to share everything and anything I know. I think that it was really an easy decision for people at that point in time. Yeah. We were doing something a little bit different out of the box, and they couldn't go to an office anyways. So that was kind of easy. And we had good relationships with the people we started. And then as we grew, the branding's strong. Jason's marketing was really strong. We had great visibility. So
were you using your lead gen skills at that time?
Yes, of course.
Oh,
yeah. We were able to offer leads. And we just kind of built. It doesn't come with a handbook, so we just tried a lot of things, and
it's experimenting, man.
And I really tried to listen to people when they had concerns, if they weren't quite sure if they wanted to come. And one thing I've always done as a designated broker, I try to be available, even if it's an agent that doesn't work for me. And one of the agents we got about a year and a half ago, she's like, I don't know why I don't just work with you. I get all my information I need when I call you, and you never pressure me. And I'm like, yeah, I know. When it's right for you, come on over. And so now she's with us, doing really good.
Cool. But you had to get, so you went from agent to broker, so you had to get your broker license too.
I
You guys
did.
both do that? Oh, so you're the broker.
I am.
Okay, and you're not the broker. Okay. Got it. Okay. And then, so so you did the Ballard, but now you got 7 offices. How long did that take to go to all these different locations on your website?
It probably went a little too fast, honestly. But they
We're 10 years older than we should be.
Right, 100%. I had no gray hair.
At
Now they're
first,
asking me to play
they weren't
Santa.
even going to allow us to be called an office, right? Because we were only four people. Well, Chris and Ashley are our first 2, and so they said, well, if you can get 10 agents in this office, we'll call you an office. Okay, so that was goal number 1.
And that was John O. Scott's.
Yes, John O. Scott, yep. And so we got our 10 agents, and then they're like, okay, well, man, you did that fast, and you guys are making money. Here's this opportunity. And then they just started presenting. Like anytime somebody wanted to retire or sell, they'd come to us and ask us if we were interested.
Okay.
And it just kind of kept working, and we just kind of kept going. So.
Wow. And then all these other locations, they kind of presented them, or did you go say to John O. Scott saying we want to open an office here?
No, we tried to run away most of the time.
Matter of fact, the only place we've ever said we want to start an office is the one place we don't have one. So.
Exactly.
Okay. Wow. So were these existing offices you acquired from other franchisees?
6 of them were. We started the Ballard one.
Okay. So the other 6 you did acquisition.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Very cool. All right. That's great. Thank you guys for the story. I really appreciate that. That matters to people because they kind of know who the face and the names of you and your story. It's a good story. So check these guys out. They're over at the Madrona Group. You can go to the madronagroup.com. They have I was actually looking at houses on Vashon. There was one right down by the beach. I was like, oh, this is cool. It's like a little bachelor pad. I go, man, I'd love to hang out there.
That's one of our offices.
Yeah, well, that's cool. Yeah, it's the madronagroup.com, or you can call it 206-899-5155. With that, I'm Pete. This is Home Matters, KIRO News Radio in Seattle Red. All right, we're back. This is Pete with Home Matters, KIRO News Radio in Seattle Red. Having a good discussion here with Jason Fox, who's been on many times with me, and his partner, and actually the broker, Joe Kiser. I did not know you were not a broker, but I guess now we know.
Now you know.
But it doesn't matter, man. You're you're still the brains behind all this too, along with Joe. So that's very cool. You guys have done very well for yourself, and
well, in the office, our recruiter, she actually calls us the Yin Yang Twins. Okay,
Yeah.
so if you can kind of already tell a little bit,
yeah, it's the old adage: you can't have pain without pleasure. Right?
Yeah.
That's very true.
Did you just call him pleasure or me pain?
No, I didn't point fingers. I just said it. That's the yin yang. Yeah. Well, somebody's got to be the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
That's very cool. All right, let's jump in. I want to talk about. Let's first discuss kind of what's going on in the market now, as it relates to kind of home prices and income, and you guys are all over the place. So we're talking, I guess, Pierce, King, Sonoma. You're out in Kitsap too.
We don't do too much in Kitsap.
Okay,
the
so it's
island counties, we dabble in. Yeah.
All right. So talk about maybe what the medium value of home prices versus income, and what those ratios are, what that means, and what typically they look for, and kind of where that fits with where things are right now in 2025.
Yeah. Well, what we're seeing right now is that the average home price is holding steady. And unfortunately, or fortunately, like if you're a homeowner, and it's always this way with real estate, it's good news or bad news depending on your situation. But during COVID, we saw appreciation of 40%.
Wow!
Right? And just a couple of years.
Why did it go up so much in COVID? What's your thoughts behind that?
Scarcity, people I think it was the interest rates, right? When you can basically get free money, it was like you're at the water cooler and you're thinking, man, if you're not in on this, what are you doing? And so everybody wanted to get in on it.
Yeah.
There's no inventory, so everybody's jumping on everything. And we just saw prices go up. And now the problem is that 40% increase, if you're trying to buy a house now, your wages didn't go up 40% in that same time.
Was there a lot of investor buying at that time during COVID, or was it still?
There was a lot of investor, but I think a lot of lifestyle too drove it. People wanted more space because they had kids at home, so they needed home offices, and then the dream of moving outside of the city and being able to work from home and have a yard became real, especially when money was so low. So I think that was a big driving force also.
Okay, so Was it? So, are you saying, Joe, that a lot of people kind of moved out of the urban areas, or did they stay in the urban areas?
A little bit of both, but a lot of people did move out, or even people that were already in the urban areas. Maybe they both went to the office. The kids would go to school. Now Jason put it clearly one time. He's like, "Man, I'd like to move, but I can't right now. But now all of a sudden I have to have an office in my garage. My kids got to have an office for school, and I didn't have kids at home at the time, so I didn't really think about how cramped it became all of a sudden when people had to do the same stuff, but they had nowhere to go. And so I think a lot of that, even in urban areas.
Yeah. So how does it? Now we're kind of back to historical average rates, right? 6.5%, 7%, which a lot of the younger generation freaked out because they're like, holy crap, this is high, right? When it really wasn't. If you go back over the last, 30, 40 years, it's not that bad. But now, with these higher rates, it seems like a lot of people, do you still have houses that are moving, or are people kind of going, nah, I don't want to sell?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. It really depends. So right now, it's super important that if you're going to try to sell a house, that it's really market ready. I always joke back in COVID. I mean, man, we could have sold a popsicle stand.
Yeah. With 10 offers.
And now you got to do the repairs, do some updates. It's got to show well. It's got to have the pro pictures and the staging and really pop. And if it does, we're still seeing stuff go in the first weekend. I actually highlight that at the sales meeting every week when that happens, just so we can kind of talk about it. But yeah, you're right. A lot of it is sitting a little bit longer now. Okay. And we've kind of dropped about 3 degrees of hotness.
What is 3 degrees? Is that you personally, or is that homes? I'm just kidding, man.
Well, today, literally, it's only 62. No. So this is a terminology that our CEO uses.
What does that mean for like number of days on market?
Number of days on market. So it's gone from like that 15-day range up to like the 30-plus day range.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. So going back to this kind of the income to home price ratio, I was looking at it, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but the stuff I saw is kind of Pierce is sitting around 7 and King goes up to around 9. Snohomish is around 8 to 9. So, and what is the normal accepted ratios, and how do people deal with that now? Because I would think the banks are, they're going, you can't afford this home.
Yeah, well, like normal debt to income ratio when you're trying to get a loan, like the highest you can go is like 55%.
Yeah.
And so, most folks are struggling with that. Yeah. What do we do? We've talked about this in the past too, right? There's some house hacking stuff, but I think most people are just waiting. And an interesting thing that happens is we're actually seeing applications rise, but they're not rising at the same level as purchases, right? Meaning that there's like this huge demand or pent-up demand of people wanting to buy. They just can't.
Okay.
And we're all trying to figure it out, right? The city's trying to figure it out. The state's trying to figure it out.
Has there been any discussion from a state level or city or county jurisdiction level where they're trying to change policy for that?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of things they work on. That's where a lot of the new zoning came in to allow, like we were talking about, the DADUs, there's a lot of that stuff's happening. People are trying to get really creative, in that, and you see a lot of multi-generational buying together. You've also seen on a personal side, you see a lot of parents are now gifting their children money to help them to get in. So, everyone's trying to get creative to figure out how to make it possible.
Try to get that down payment.
Yeah, but as you mentioned, I mean, what'd you say? The average home buyer now is 41 years old? Is that what you were saying?
Well, I said it's 40.2, which I was blown away at. I thought, God, is that really real? I mean,
yeah,
that's kind of getting up there. You're getting in your middle age. Before you can buy your first home. That's kind of depressing.
It's like, woohoo! You got kids going off to college.
Yeah, exactly. That's the other thing. Then you got to pay for all the college. It's like.
But like we were talking about off air, the DADU thing, and that's supposed to be the big answer right now, and what's called the One Seattle Plan. That's sort of the nickname for it. It's got a big HB something 1690 or something like that. But anyway,
so 137, I think.
The 137. Yeah, sorry, I should know that. But the idea is
that's why I'm here.
Yeah, there you go.
I can be your data analyst.
There you go. Perfect.
I still have 3 degrees of hotness, by the way.
Simmer.
There we go.
Yeah, simmer down.
But yeah, they're trying to allow people to split up the property so that we can build, more units.
Yeah, and the thing is that I was talking about that with another sponsor is in for the ADUs, which is the attached to the house, and the DADUs is the detached. But even in the Seattle area, the applications for permits quadrupled.
Yes.
Yep.
So it's really going strong.
Which now that presents a whole other problem we could get into, right? Where it's like how, if you're going to do this project, the length of time it takes to get the permits, right? So it's all the costs. It's always one thing.
That's what I was talking about, Joe, because this is not, I live in California. Same thing. Streamline the process. It's taking too long to get those permits. Sure. They've got to really get some efficiency going here.
They do.
Yeah, because that lengthens it. So, but as long as we have a couple more minutes and you talked about it, we'll just continue the discussion. So, what I had heard from one of the contractors that was on the show with me is, typically like a DADU that's 1,200 square feet is going to be $400,000 or $500,000.
To build.
Yeah. Yeah. So
then
I was looking at the math going, well, okay, if let's say they could either do a, straight 30-year fixed, or they could do a construction loan, which probably they're going to do, and then roll it into
or a HELOC.
Yeah, or HELOC. But then you got this, $2,000 to $2,200 payment you got to pay on that.
Yeah.
At these rates. So
so we'll, we touched on it too, but the trick is with that, and what I'm seeing developers, how they're making money and hopefully, increasing our inventory is they'll come and they'll find a fixer-upper that's got a nice corner lot or something you can put a second driveway in.
Okay.
Then they'll come and throw a DADU on that, and they'll sell that or maybe hold it in their portfolio and rent it, and then they'll fix up the primary residence for a profit. And so there's, you can make a profit in there, and now we have two homes instead of one, and ultimately that should be a good thing, right?
We'll do the math on that when we come back, 'cause I'm still not sold on this, but we'll Jason and I can go through that, and also Joe as well. We come back. This is Pete of the Home Matters, KIRO News Radio in Seattle Red. All right, we're back. This is Pete with Home Matters, KIRO News Radio in Seattle Red. We're having a great discussion here with Jason Fox and Joe Kiser of the Madrona Group. You can check them out at themadronagroup.com. You guys, out of a lot of the sponsors we have on this show, they have like a really cool website. It's got a lot of education, great pictures. It's broken up by, the different locations they have for their offices. Like I said, I was kind of fantasizing about Vashon Island, and I saw this little bachelor house that was down right on the water. I was like, this is super cool. I was like, I don't know, $669 or something like that. It wasn't expensive. Of course, it was small, but it was like, wow, this would be a really cool place to go hang out, man.
Well, you know what? We can actually go show you that unit.
Yep. Yeah. That would increase my degrees of hotness.
Yeah, exactly.
You're up to 40%.
There we go, man. Well, I'll just buy with cash. But, but it's you guys, the website's really, really cool. It's really nice. Okay. We were talking about this whole strategy with, so how do you kind of get into these houses? And Jason, you had said about, well, hey, you can, a lot of guys, what they're doing, they're buying these flippers and they're finding other daddies. Like, can you kind of revisit that, how that works as that strategy and how that could be profitable for people? Yeah.
So in the industry, they kind of call it the 3-pack now. So it's actually two. And so there's two ways you can go about it. You can either put an DADU onto the main house, or sometimes you can fit two DADUs, and that's what they're looking for. Is a lot with that you could put.
Because you can put up to two. I've heard some places, some of the jurisdictions, you can put up to 4, like cottages.
I think you can get up to like 5, which is
really
great. But then we start getting into some really fun stuff with appraisals and what's highest and best use of the property. You got to really think outside of the box now. But but these developers will come in, they'll take a flipper, they'll throw a DADU in the backyard, probably a second DADU. That's what they really want to get the profit. They build the one, they take that money to start building the second one, they take that money to flip the main house, and then all the while, if you sell it to them, they'll say, hey, well, you can live in the house, maybe rent free for the time it takes us to build the other one. So there's some incentive for you to kind of.
So you're talking about the people that are buying the DADU, they can live there rent free while they're building them.
The seller can stay.
Oh, the seller can stay.
Yeah. right? Because the idea is that you got to, be able to buy that first house, probably at a good rate.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're right. The cost of building now, and like the time for permits, cost of materials, everything, labor.
Yeah. The price per square foot on those things, I was like, holy. I mean, I've got a building background, so it's like I do it myself. But for people that don't have that, I mean, yeah, 380, 450, 500 a square foot. I'm going that used to be like waterfront prices, custom homes. It's like, holy crap, that's like
turn back the clock.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so that's kind of the strategy.
That's the strategy. Your average homeowner probably doesn't benefit throwing a dadu in their backyard, right? By the time you deal with all the costs and how you're going to get the loan, unless you just happen to have the cash and you have a need, like a family member,
like a family member or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk about that, Joe, because there's the other one, which is the condo association approach.
Yeah.
So can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, yeah, they'll go in and they will, like Jason said, but they'll short plat it. They'll create a condo association, so they'll sell them as a condo. But you got that brings up a whole nother ball of wax too. You've got to form the association, come up with the rules, regulations.
And people have to agree to it that buy those places.
They do.
Too. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. And then come sale time sometimes, and you're buying a tiny home, right? And there's sort of a cap to what a property can do, you know. And so, you kind of got to know, well, if I'm buying a tiny home in somebody's backyard, maybe my appreciation level won't be, quite what some other.
And the other thing, too, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, but when you're forming the condo association, you own the structure, but you don't own the land. It's co-shared, right?
Yep, it's co-shared space.
So it's not really you're owning land in the house. You're just owning the structure of the house. Okay.
But that's a way that they've created to create more affordable housing for people, and so where you see it a lot, though, is like you were talking about multi-generational families and things like that. If you have a kid at home or, so that's a lot of the time how it starts out. And then if they want to sell later, they might form the association and then sell off. I do know a local builder that every time he builds, he'll put a dadu in the back, but he keeps that in his own portfolio and uses that for a rental income and has a side property management company. So there's a lot of ways to get creative.
Yeah. Does it make sense on that from a strategy if someone, in the right neighborhood? Because I was looking, I saw, I don't know if it's true or not, but they were talking about in Ravenna, which is a really nice neighborhood.
Yeah.
Somebody sold a dadu for like $1 million. And I was like, okay, well, that makes sense. Can you do like a 1031 exchange on those types of things too? Or would it make sense to do that?
I mean, I think everybody's situation's a little different. There is a time where it could make sense, if they want to graduate up to a bigger rental or things like that.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting into the investing stuff, and it gets complicated.
Well, and a lot of people are the buy, but I could see if you have like multi-generational, or you have an older parent, you just want to, and you're going to stay there. You're not looking to sell, but because at least the data I saw, when you go to sell, let's say you build this dadu for $500K, you're not getting $500K out of that thing or more. It didn't seem like that. Is that true? Or?
It's often, I mean, the growth on that's going to be much more, and like what we were talking in the earlier segment, there was just accelerated growth due to scarcity, all the money that came in during COVID, but things are, stabilizing so that you
So
don't
what are we
have
seeing
that growth.
like average growth appreciation per year now? Is it back to kind of a 4% average? Or?
No, it's I think this year we're looking at one or two.
Oh, it's lower. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're stabilizing, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's important to know the difference. We're not. It's not dropping. There's not depreciation.
Yeah.
And so there's not a crash, but it's leveled. You're not getting the 6 to 7% average, as we have to make up for that 40% that we got a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
Yeah. That's where when people say, oh, the prices are dropping, well, no, they are correcting because, news is history. And so a lot of people want to come to market on yesterday's value, and that was falsely inflated. And so, you see some homeowners resistant to fair market price today. And, so they'll come on high and then they'll have to drop. But overall, if you price it right and have it ready to go, it's going to move in a good time.
So what do you guys like? When you talk to people about that are going to sell their homes, how do you communicate that pricing strategy? Because a lot of times they want to go high and then it just sits, right? So how do you and when should they make a move to say, okay, we got to maybe drop the price a little bit?
Yeah, we were just talking about that on our morning huddle with a bunch of the agents this morning. That's what we were talking about is honesty. We don't apologize for the market. It is what it is. You need to go in with data. The day of just going in and getting a contract signed without showing the data, showing value, it's just not here, you know?
Yeah.
And so you need to help your sellers bring it to the right market condition, educate them, and don't be scared to walk away, you know? Like if, we invest in our listings, it costs money, to do it right. And we want to, we want to market it properly. So if we can't come to terms on value, then I'm not going to do service for you. You're going to be frustrated with me and we're going to end up, so I think just being straightforward and truthful, but to do that, you need to keep up with what's going on in the market and be able to speak intelligently to it. So
are you seeing where homes or maybe the days are over where they're getting, multiple bids over the price of the home? Is that kind of a gone thing for now?
It's not gone, but
I guess it depends on the neighborhood again.
It really depends on location, condition. It takes three things to sell a house: price, promotion, and presentation.
Yeah.
If you're priced right, you promote it right, and the presentation's right, it's still going to sell.
Yeah.
But if any of those things are off, even a little bit right now, the market punishes you a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what the research I was looking at is they were kind of saying that, hey, if you're sitting 3 to 4 weeks or so and your house isn't moving, maybe you got to kind of look at the prices. That kind of what you guys look at a little bit.
Yeah, and that's one thing Jason and I have always been very upfront with. So we'll go in and talk to a seller and say, the value may not be there. We're kind of teetering right now.
Yeah.
So we'll oftentimes just have a built-in price drop ready to go, and we update them weekly and just kind of stay on top of it. Because if you wait too long, you'll never course correct. You just won't.
Yeah. You kind of get behind the 8 ball on that one.
You do.
And once it gets the stigma,
perception's everything, I'll have clients call me and it could be a beautiful house. It's just overpriced. Hey, Joe, what's wrong with this house? There's got to be a problem with it. And it's like, no, it's beautiful. It's just not priced correctly.
You're asking too much.
Yep. Yeah. That's what's wrong. Price is the only thing.
Your house does not have 3 levels of hotness.
It presents well, it's promoted well, it's just not priced well.
But where there's, there's opportunity. So those buyers, now we can go, hey, look, this is an amazing house. It's been sitting here for a couple of months. It's overpriced. Let's go ask them. Let's go get a sale. Yeah. Let's get them to pay our closing costs. Let's get a 2-1 interest rate buy down.
Okay. I'm glad you brought that up, Jason. Yeah, that was in my head as the next thing I wanted to ask you. So talk about these buy down as a strategy and how that can work between seller and buyer.
Yeah. We're in a very good position for that right now, right? Where inventory is up a bit. Now, historically not, but more than what we've been used to. And so houses are sitting a bit. And of course, like Joe was mentioning, the sellers are kind of sitting on yesterday's pricing. So they're not, moving a lot of these houses. Well, it sits 3 or 4 weeks, sellers start to get a little bit antsy.
Yeah.
And now we can start to negotiate. And so the buyer's got some power right now. Okay. So what you can do is you can talk to your lender and find out how much of the closing costs you can use towards buying down your interest rate. Now, this isn't an ARM. This is still a 30-year fixed interest rate. We're simply like putting the cash up front to buy the payments down for a short period of time.
Okay. And the seller helps with that it's kind of like a points situation. Is that?
So we ask the seller to help for that because we do have that negotiation power.
Mm-hmm. And how is that? I mean, are you getting the seller to agree to that in some cases?
Yeah.
In a lot of cases right now.
Okay. Yeah. Since they want to move it, they're going to be a little more flexible.
Yeah.
And especially when you're dealing with experienced agents that know the market that are also talking, you have a new agent that maybe doesn't understand all of this. And so they might not really be able to tell the seller kind of the benefits of it.
Yeah.
But, when we go on a listing presentation, we tell them, this is what's going to happen. We might see somebody asking for a 2-1 buy down. What that means is, and so, it'll be down 2 points for the first year and it will graduate up 1 point the next year. And then you'll be at the prime rate for the next 28 years. So,
got it.
And the telling factor to that is that that's what new home builders are doing right now, right? They're offering those buy downs.
So they're kind of financing.
It's about the payment right now. Right?
Yeah, I get it. All right, we come back. We're going to continue our discussion with Jason and Joe here. Check them out at themadronagroup.com. 7 offices all over the area. They probably got an office where you live. Or give them a call at 206-899-5155. With that, I'm Pete. This is Home Matters, KIRO News Radio and Seattle Red. All right, we're back. This is Pete with Home Matters, KIRO Radio News or News Radio. I guess News Radio and Seattle Red. They just changed all the call things again on me, so, got to get used to this. So one of the things that I wanted to ask you guys about, it popped in my head is, I lived on Whidbey Island for years, and I also lived, over here in Snohomish County, and have never lived down in Pierce County, but what's your guys' is like, you look at, because kind of island counties, it's like its own world out there, and you got the locals, and it's like, they kind of put up with the tourists, but kind of not.
Yeah.
Because I live there, I know this. But how is like an island county thing different from where you get here in, the King County market, where you got a bunch of techies and they all got all kinds of money? Is the inventory different? Is the movement of houses different? How do they compare?
Well, I think you really need to be a local area expert first off. And so I think that when people go to the island, they're really looking for somebody on island with the experience of knowing the island ins and outs. Like Jason and I were while we were all talking off air is, if I go to try to sell on Vashon Island, for example, I'm going to need an agent to tell me who's my sign vendor, who's a vendor to get it cleaned, and so really to serve people better.
Support services and stuff.
So I think it's important that you pair up with somebody that knows kind of what they're doing.
But as far as like Island County versus say here King County, is it more like a retirement crowd that's buying homes in Island County, or is it just a mix?
A lot of tech workers.
Okay. It is a lot of people that can work remotely.
Okay.
Right. And I think that's the big shift. And so you still get the money out there, but it is a little slower. Yeah. And, things do sit a little bit longer. The prices are maybe just a little bit lower.
Okay.
So it is a little slower. Just the whole feeling, right?
Yeah, it's island time.
Yeah, it's
island time.
And the last time I was on Vashon Island, I was talking to one of the locals, and I was like, "Oh, are you a local?" And she's like, "No, I've only lived here 35 years."
That's good.
So it's like that.
All the way down to the ferry. You said it should come around 12:15 to 2.
Yeah. Well, that was always the thing because I worked at Fluke Electronics up in Everett. That was my first engineering job, and I had a car on either side. I just pop on the ferry, walk on, go across, and take the car, walk up to the parking lot. So
we'll see some Boeing people head up there as well. So we do a lot of relo as well.
Okay.
And so a lot of the Boeing relo people are interested in heading up there to get away a little bit.
Yeah. Vashon is it goes right into Seattle here, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So
on one side and then Tacoma.
On the other side. Okay.
It has the foot ferry that goes to downtown Seattle. The other, it goes to West Seattle, Fauntleroy.
Okay, the Fauntleroy. That's right. Got it. Okay. All right. I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about first-time home buyers because, you guys have talked all about this. The income to housing price ratios are super high now. And, I was mentioned the 40.2 years for the first-time home buyer, that's sad. It's like that is not the American dream. We got to see if we can fix that somehow. I don't know what the solution is. But, the poor kids that get out of college, they're saddled with this debt and then they can't buy a house and all this thing. But can you guys speak to both first-time home buyer and maybe VA or, that kind of military stuff? Let's talk with first-time home buyers. Other than, you mentioned, Joe, about gifting, which that happens.
Yeah.
But are there any programs to help first-time home buyers as far as, reducing down payments or reducing loan rates?
There are. In fact, actually, a lot of the first-time home buyers also have really great credit. And so, now there's a conventional 3% down, which, used to be FHA 3.5 was about as low down as you can go. And FHA tends to be a little bit more stringent in some of their qualifiers, a little bit more liberal. So having a conventional is great.
So where's the 3% coming from for first-time home buyers if it's not FHA? What is?
Oh, no, the buyer brings 3% down.
The buyer brings 3%.
So really, I think a key to that is have a great lender that you can talk to, have access to, and learn the programs, because they change quickly. So I have great relationships with lenders. I try not to work too much in their area. I know enough to know, this might be a program that you qualify for. Let's get you over to our lender to ask some questions and find out, And FHA also, you mentioned off the break, that's a great program. One that had a lot of stigma. There was a lot of stigmas around it. And I don't know why. I don't think people realize it's an actual benefit that people fought for and they have the opportunity to utilize. And the program's great, and it helps people that don't have any money down to actually get into a house, and that the VA will actually pay the down payment, or the seller can actually pay the down payment on that.
Okay, that's cool. So is there a way now that we're kind of in this situation, can whether they're first-time home buyers or buyers, can they negotiate with mortgage companies and banks now as far as fee structures, applications, fees, or points, or is that still like it is what it is? And
no, it is what it is. You should shop around a little bit, or we have some trusted lenders that we go to. We just know that they're always going to give them the very best possible solutions. But take it to a couple places, check it out. Some places are maybe a little bit higher than some others. But no, not really negotiable. What you can do is, of course, we've talked about it. We can ask for, and there's not only temporary buy downs, but you can buy permanent buy downs as well. Okay. So you could take your 6.3% and buy it down to like 5.85 or something like that for a chunk of money.
But what is that like in today's rates? What does that cost you to do something like that?
They never really tell us their formula, but I read about 30,000 or something like that. Maybe. Yeah. They just call. What is it going to be? So I don't know what the formula is, but yeah, typically it tends to be around like 20,000, something around there.
All right.
So if you look at it from the terms of, okay, if the house isn't selling, it's $1 million house, I want to offer $950 on it, but I want $50,000 to go to my concessions so that I can buy down my interest rate and not have any closing costs. Okay. So what we can do right now, I just did this for my friends the other day, is you can get into a 3% down, 30-year conventional loan. Okay, not ARMs, not these 80/20s, none of that stuff from the past. That's all. This is
it's fixed
rate.
Fixed rate.
Right?
Got it.
And we went in and found a house. We got the price reduced on the house, and we got them to give 3% back, so all closing costs were paid.
Okay.
And we could buy them a 2-1 buy down, which brought their interest rate down to 4.25.
But who paid the 2-1 buy down? Was that the
seller through that?
The seller did. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Well, and then on top of that, we got an inspection, which is the thing people forgot even existed. And when the inspection happened, they agreed to work and reduce the price of the house again. So there's some real power in there right now if you approach it right.
Yeah. Did you guys get a good bottle of whiskey out of that? That's a lot, man. You really helped that.
We have to buy them a gift, Pete.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was different nowadays.
Yeah. No, that is a deal. You're right.
That's a great deal.
Just to tell you that story, these folks, I've been helping them look for a house for 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah, no joke.
Are they local here?
Yeah, Edmonds, Linwood area.
Okay.
And they gave up during COVID because everything was priced out.
Yeah.
Right. And
the market was moving so damn fast.
That too.
God.
You had to make a decision in 2 minutes.
It's like you're approaching getting on a freeway where people are going 100 and you're coming in at 20. It's like,
what are you talking about? You can't make a decision in 5 minutes? Let's go.
It's like, we're closing.
There was a lot of buyer's remorse there.
Yeah. And that got frustrating. I'm sure a lot of people gave up.
A lot of people gave up, right? Yeah. And, then the rates got shot up to like 8. Yeah. That was too much for everybody. So it was just the other day, I was like, hey, we're in a really unique position right now. Rates just dropped.
Okay.
Inventory. I can probably get you some closing costs. So, man, 3% down. That's it.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Where do you guys think, I mean, we're at the kind of, what is it, 6.5, 7 now, something around there?
As of this morning, according to Mortgage News Daily, it was 6.39.
6.39, okay. Do you see that kind of just flatlining for a while, or is it going to kind of slowly drift down, or where do you guys, I mean, based on your history of what's going on in the markets?
I think it's going to be a slow, it'll descend slowly. Yeah.
Okay.
Like the Feds are talking about possible 2 more cuts before the new year, and that could have an effect on mortgage rates. But this last cut, it went back up a little bit.
Yeah.
So
we're still teetering on inflation. Yeah.
But we're definitely stabilizing at a lower 6s, which is nice.
Okay.
I don't think we're going to see 7 again. Do you?
Yeah. No, the projection from the economists right now is maybe 5.5 by the end.
Which is going back to historical average.
Next year.
Yeah. Okay. Well, guys, hey, it was a lot of fun. We covered a lot of ground here. Thank you for all the information.
Yeah,
I really appreciate it. Jason, Joe.
Yeah.
Thanks
for
a lot,
having
man.
me.
Yeah.
It's the Madrona Group. Check them out at themadronagroup.com. They got a great website. You can also give them a call, too, or just look up one of their offices and go into the office. And if Joe's floating around, you can see him. He's the guy on the radio here. Or you
I'll
can
come meet with you.
Yeah, come meet with him. Yeah, 206-899-5155. With that, I'm Pete. This is Home Matters, KIRO News Radio in Seattle Red.